I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on Spotlight, a follow-up to our exclusive interview with author Stephen Ridley, where we delve into his book, The Book of Outcomes. It is a comprehensive guide to the survival of humanity and the battle between light and dark, integrating both Eastern and Western philosophies and emphasizing the importance of treating others as you wish to be treated. We're also excited because Stephen is launching a brand new app, a healing app based on the principles of Reiki. We will get into that as well. We're delighted to have Stephen join us here today on Spotlight. Thank the team at Sweetspire Literature Management for helping us put Stephen in the spotlight today, and ask viewers like you to support writers like him by subscribing to our channel. Stephen, great to see you today.
Great to see you again, Logan. Thank you for having me back.
Oh, my pleasure, my friend. Good to talk to you once more. For the folks who are just tuning in for the first time, let's tell them what the Book of Outcomes is about. It's basically a survival guide for humanity, right?
That's right. It's a blueprint looking at how we treat each other and the practical solutions around that, around our socio-economic systems. Our value systems are probably the most important thing in there. Being very collaborative, constructive, and benevolent towards one another. So it's the golden rule in action. So that's the idea, and to unite East and West as well, and our philosophies. So from Chinese philosophy of the Tao Te Ching and Confucianism, right through to Christianity, Buddhism, Islam, Judaism. Um, I think you mentioned before, even if you believe you're an atheist, we're in this together. It's about common goals, and we've got some challenges, shall we say, in humanity with our economics and with our financial systems, with our belief systems, and conflict as well. We've got too much conflict going on around the world, and we need to start resolving that,
People
I
from
think.
diverse backgrounds. You've got Bernie Sanders on the left, who
Yeah.
says it's a rigged system. You've got Donald Trump on the right, who says it's a rigged system. So if you have the left and the right finally agreeing about something, we've got to realize that maybe there's some truth to it, that this system that we're participating in right now is being rigged by someone somehow, right?
It's interesting you saying that, because that's the United States. Exactly the same thoughts in the United Kingdom, in France, Germany, Australia, all over the world, and we have this uh, bipartite system, two parties. And the problem with that is, you've got polarized views, and yet they're very similar, and yet not coming up with solutions together. So, when you look at it, it comes down to individuals, I think, with their own value systems and morality around this. And I think there are elements of control on both sides, on both sides of the left and the right. And I don't believe in left and right anyway. I actually believe in good and not so good. So,
And I
you
think
do the right thing.
most people, if you get down to it, aren't completely on the right or aren't completely on the left. They believe a little bit of this and a little bit of that, But I think the media and big tech tries to label us and divide us in many instances to build an audience, right?
Absolutely. I mean, that's part of the appeal, I suppose. That polarization is what it's the debating society, isn't it? By actually
Right.
getting that moving. The issue is when you're actually focusing on sort of what the other person's not doing or what you expect them to do, etc. You're not focusing on solutions. So, whether you're Republican or Democrat in the United States, or Labour or Conservative in the United Kingdom, it doesn't really make much difference if you've got the same value system. If you actually want to do the right thing, does it really matter what background you're coming from? Even you can take it to an extreme. Do we really have capitalism? Is there free market capitalism? Is the market sort of controlled? If it's controlled, it's not capitalism, it's not free market. Because capitalism is built on the principle there's no advantage, because it's a free market, so everyone has the same opportunity. Is that really true? I don't believe so. I think there is influence. I know there's insider trading and stuff going on. I know that I've seen share prices and pips move on forex, foreign exchange, before the announcements thing. So there's clearly something going on in background. I have evidence of that personally. So
Absolutely. I mean,
and
even
my
a
background is finances as
manager
well.
of a money market who's moving money from one stock to another is making a seismic shift in the market, right?
Well, there's another thing going on as well. When I studied, there was something called over-the-counter markets.
Mm-hmm.
And now, in the last 2 years, there's only one market for that. That's called pink sheets. So how can you have a market of one? So whoever controls the market is controlling the price. Same with the stock markets. There's market making going on. There's dark pools, so automatic share trading. And we have all sorts of things going on with central bank funding and so forth. So, even in the United Kingdom, you believe that the Treasury sort of ran the finances. It's not even the Bank of England. It's the Court of Directors in the Bank of England, who are anonymous. So if you ask who they are, they won't disclose who they are. So when you say, is it corrupt? Well, if it's not transparent, then what's to hide?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Tell the folks at home how the Book of Outcomes addresses the socioeconomic and environmental challenges that are facing humanity.
Yeah, it's a good question. It's a complex question as well. But one of the big things that we've got is wastage in our system. So we consume more than we actually, we consume more than we don't consume everything that we produce. I think that's the point. Yeah. So we waste a lot. I don't know what it's like in the United States, but I think I read sort of in the last 10 years, in the United Kingdom, I don't think it's true now, but we throw away about a third of our food, which is crazy, absolutely crazy. Another third of it is on transportation costs. So we're very wasteful, certainly in the West. So that can end. So we're taking from the planet, and we've got a financial system that doesn't really lend itself to efficiency, because it's about making corporate profits rather than producing something and making good money as a byproduct of doing something well, which is how it's supposed to work. So the book tries to address that, or does address that, in terms of creating a new socio-economic and financial system where basically the taxation system, for example, needs reviewing. We have a lot of polarization of wealth simply because of the tax system, offshoring of money. I know the United States, for example, introduced FATCA to monitor people taking their money out of the United States and, say, sending it to Switzerland, which ironically was being reinvested back into the United States in the stock markets. So it's a broken model. It's almost like it's not based on production. It's based on financial system and trading the financial system rather than production. And really, economics is about managing scarce resources. So if we're wasting from the earth, that's the opposite of economic management. So when we talk about economic growth, there's no such thing. You can't grow a scarce resource. It's just not possible. That, you can grow the money supply, but then that causes inflation and so forth. So it's a complex issue, but you need to fix the tax system. But first you need to fix the leadership, because it's going to be led from the front. And this comes back to, whether it's left or right. And it's not really about that. It's about leadership.
How do you think leaders should approach their responsibilities?
That's an interesting one. Again, I think there's a couple of principles. One is they should lead by example. End of. And the second is you can't be a leader without followers. So who do they serve? Their followers. Those are the two principles. So if a leader doesn't follow those principles, not really a leader in my book. So leading by example and serving your followers is a principle of the golden rule, if you like, treating others as you wish to be treated, because no one of us would honestly say, I don't think, someone comes up and said, follow me, I'm deceptive. Right. So we need to test to see whether someone's got a track record as well of integrity. Exactly. So we don't really do that. We don't really research that, I don't believe. So we're to blame as well. We don't actually look at who we vote for and who we follow. So maybe it's time to actually find the true leaders.
And maybe it's also time for the media, the press, to focus on issues and qualities and characteristics in these leaders that really mean something, as opposed to the easy scandal. It just seems like Absolutely. We're so diverted with scandals and trying to find somebody literally caught with their pants down, as opposed to somebody who really has the nation's or the world's best interest at heart.
Well, isn't it interesting that we look for the perfect person, and it's certainly not in this world. Right. So, we can all hold our hands up. We've all made mistakes. And in
Right.
fact, it's by making mistakes that we become better at what we do. So we should be looking for people who put their hands up and said, yeah, I made mistakes, but this is what I learned,
Right.
and this is how I want to take it forward, rather than people who try to cover their mistakes and try to pretend they're whiter than white. And then you find out that's a form of deception anyway.
Absolutely.
So, so,
Absolutely.
so it's about honesty and integrity, I believe, and leading from the front, taking risks, and it's about a good leader is courageous. They're not worried about what the media is going to say, and say, you know, if you can actually say as a journalist, have you ever done anything wrong? Let's look at you. Why are you trying to dig the dirt? What's the point?
Right.
This is gutter politics. It's just not going to help anyone. So I think we have to change the view in the media that the media is there to help society.
Absolutely.
The media is there to serve society. That's what I believe.
Yeah, unfortunately, right now it seems like the media is there to serve corporate interests, but that's a discussion for another day. Let's talk a little bit about this app that you have developed. It
Yeah.
sounds like very exciting news. It's based on Reiki. Tell us a little bit about it.
So it only came about recently, since the last time we spoke, and I'd started trying to find out what sound frequencies would help healing of the human body.
Mm.
And I did a lot of research around 5 to 8 hertz, which is a frequency in nature. So chlorophyll resonates at 5 to 8 hertz. Bees flap their wings at 5 to 8 hertz. Oxygen electrons resonate at 5 to 8 hertz. So it works in the whole cycle of life. So it works in healing as well. So I came up with the idea that how can we help as many people as possible with this? And because I'm a Reiki master as well, I have my corporate background as an accountant and with my MBA, I could quickly come up with the concept that if I push this through the route of Reiki, there are a lot of practitioners, for example, in the United States, also work in medical practice. So they're very familiar with Reiki as a technique for speeding up healing. So by having the app with sound at this frequency, it would automatically start speeding up the process of healing for people at a physical level, but also emotionally and mental health as well. But linked to that, there's a detox program. So we're very good at eating foods that come off the shelves that are pseudo foods. They're not whole foods, they're processed foods. And we have so many sugars in these foods that actually affects the toxicity in our body and is addictive. So actually, it's very, very difficult then to break that cycle. So there's a program how to break that cycle, and then natural remedies of how to actually sort of cleanse your body, which will also cleanse your mind. Because if we want to feel good, we generate serotonin, and we believe it comes from our brain. It doesn't. 70% of serotonin is generated in our gut. So if we have a healthy digestion system, we also clear the brain fog as well. So it's to help people sort of clarify, get clarity, feel better, and self-heal to some extent. And because there's a generation coming through now that uses apps on phones, not even the internet, by having it on their phone and just clicking, they just play the music and it will start doing its work. And then they can read and say, right, I'm going to make some lifestyle improvements and look at whole foods, organic foods. Interestingly, I did some research on sugars, and the FDA approved artificial sweeteners that are approved to go in food. And I think there's about 6 of them, high intensity, and some of those are carcinogenic,
Yeah.
there, and a couple of them, one of them approved by the NHS in the United Kingdom. Studies shown that it can cause stroke and heart attack. So why are we doing this? And I discovered something else was really interesting. Stevia, which is a plant, which is a natural sweetener, you can put it in food as a manufacturer, providing it's been through a lab process. Doesn't make sense.
Right.
Stevia glycol. Why not? Why can't you just use stevia?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is sort of proof in a way that is being pushed towards corporate profitability rather than health. And I think this is one of the things that we can start changing by our consumer habits as well, and what we actually buy. And the United States is perfect. The reason being is healthcare is expensive, and therefore alternative therapies are cheaper. And therefore, if you can self-heal and go to prevention rather than cure, as Samuel Hahnemann said, yeah,
Right.
the father of modern medicine. Let's just go back. You never fix yourself by fixing the symptom.
Absolutely. And also, don't get sick in the first place. Stay well.
Exactly.
Focus on
Exactly.
wellness. You'll feel
Absolutely.
better. You'll have a healthier, happier life. The quality of your years will be better. I mean, the pharmaceutical industry, they do great things. Thank God for them. But a lot of people are on drugs they don't need if they were on a whole foods diet. You
Exactly.
wouldn't need the statins to the degree that people use statins. You wouldn't need the high blood pressure medicines. You wouldn't need a whole, spectrum of different pharmaceuticals that are out there to address maladies that we get simply by what we put in our mouths.
And by the way, I've tested these on myself.
Okay, great, great. That's
So
awesome.
I've,
Now,
I,
go
sorry,
ahead.
yeah. No, no. For example, I was diagnosed with 13 kidney stones, and the
Mm,
urologist had that. That's heavy, yeah,
yeah,
and it's linked to all sorts of things, Crohn's disease, everything, right? So these are all things that I've had, and I've cleared them. And the urologist, the consultant urologist, said, "Steve, whatever you're doing, keep doing it because it's working. The MRI scan shows it's gone."
wonderful,
So,
wonderful.
so it's real. This is real stuff. Yeah,
It is real stuff. The name of the app is called Reiki World,
that's correct. Yeah,
and it'll be available on Apple and also Android.
yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Well, Steve Ridley, wonderful talking to you today. The name of his book is The Book of Outcomes. It is a blueprint on how to save humanity. And if you want to save humanity one person at a time, you will soon be able to download an app. It is called Reiki World. It has been developed by Stephen Ridley, who is a businessman and also a Reiki master. And we are delighted to speak with him today here on Spotlight. Stephen, thank you so much for being our guest.
Pleasure. Thank you very much.
Pleasure
Take
is
care,
all
my friend.
mine. To the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time. This time, until next time on Spotlight.